Welcome to the Casual Horror Fan channel. My name is Dan. Today, we're going to be discussing 12 underrated horror films according to me. This is my list, which means it is objective, and if you disagree with me, you're wrong. Of course, I'm joking. This is just my list. Let me know what you think of my picks. We're going to go through all of them, and we're going to start things off with 1987's Flowers in the Attic, directed by Jeffrey Bloom, starring Louise Fletcher, Victoria Tennant, and Christy Swanson. After their father's death, 4 siblings are hidden away in their wealthy grandmother's attic by their mother, enduring years of abuse and isolation at the hands of their fanatically religious grandmother. This movie at the time was really popular because it was a book. It was super taboo. It's a taboo topic. And I just think it's so powerful the way it speaks to motherhood, right? Most people either grew up or currently hopefully still have a mother, okay? And most of us live with this impression that, the whole world might abandon me, but I'll always have my mother, right? My mother will always have my back. And you're hoping for that outcome there as these children have this treacherous journey, this difficult existence, or really this awful, horrible existence. But there's one person that you're hoping is protecting them. And unfortunately, things are not as they seem. I'll leave it there. This is a great watch. If you haven't seen it before, highly recommend. Flowers in the Attic, 1987. It's my first on my list of 12 underrated movies. Number 2, it's a more recent film, 2020's The Wolf of Snow Hollow, directed by Jim Cummings, stars Jim Cummings and Ricky Lindholm, Robert Forster. A small-town sheriff battling his own personal demons investigates a series of brutal murders that the town becomes convinced is the work of a werewolf. I love this film. I think it's small-town horror done really, really well. I love the sheriff and his relationship with the father. There's also some decent comedic moments in it. I love the way it's shot. The werewolf is done really well. This is a great watch. It kind of flew under the radar. Give it a shot if you haven't seen it. The Wolf of Snow Hollow, really fun, from 2020. Next up is a film that people like. I just think it's a little bit higher, okay? And that's my criteria. When I talk about underrated, overrated, underrated is like, here's how people see it. I think it should be like here. Not that it's not already considered a good film, but it's Abigail from 2024, directed by Matt Bettinelli, Olpen, and Tyler Gillette. Stars Melissa Barrera, Dan Stevens, and Alicia Ware. A group of criminals kidnap a young ballerina for ransom, only to discover overnight that she's a vampire hunting them one by one inside a locked mansion. I just love the camp with the fear. Like it also has like this heist element to it that's really good, and it kind of grips you on early on. And it would be a lot better if you can go in not knowing that she's a vampire, but they also couldn't market this movie without you knowing that she's a vampire. So the more blind, I probably just ruined it for you if you haven't seen it. But even if you know, as I did, it's still awesome. I think this movie's freaking awesome. I love the way she's like an active ballerina and she's doing all these things. She's doing like pirouettes and these different movements, but she's also like a centuries-old evil vampire who's going to rip all their guts out. It's an awesome movie. It's definitely a good watch. Give it a shot. It's Abigail from 2024. Next up is another one that people like. I just think it's higher up on the folk horror rung than it's considered, okay? It's The Ritual from 2017. It's directed by David Bruckner. It stars Rafe Spall, Arsha Ali, Robert James Collier. 4 friends on a memorial hiking trip through the Swedish wilderness take a shortcut through the woods and find themselves stalked by an ancient primal entity. Okay, here's the thing. At its core, it's really scary. The woods are fantastic. They create this feeling of dread and loneliness and isolation. It's done really, really well. And the entity at the end is also really good. But I think it touches, and I got this from Daniel from the Cobwebs channel, but I think it touches on a fear that most men carry. Not exclusively men, but it is primarily men. And it's the fear of cowardice, right? It's when I'm called to do the things that men are traditionally expected to do, I'm not going to have the intestinal fortitude to do it. And it plays on that fear from the very beginning until the end. And it does it incredibly well. This is a great movie. It's not just a good movie. Give it a watch. The Ritual from 2017. Next up is one that some people are hot on, some people are cold. I just think it's excellent, okay? It's directed by M. Night Shyamalan. It's Glass from 2019, starring James McAvoy, Bruce Willis, and Samuel L. Jackson. The conclusion to the Unbreakable Split trilogy, bringing David Dunn, the Horde, and Mr. Glass together in a psychiatric facility that questions whether they're superhuman or simply delusional. I loved it. I think it's great. I think it was a fantastic ending to the trilogy. I don't really get what people don't like. I mean, I think people kind of saw it coming. I didn't. I don't see anything coming. If I see coming what's coming, your movie sucks. Let me just tell you ahead of time. but I love Glass. I love all three movies. I think they're all great. I mean, it might not be the best. It's definitely not the best of the three. I think Split, maybe even Unbreakable. It's definitely, I would say, the third best, but I think it's excellent. I love all three movies, and this movie is excellent to me. Okay. Next is one that people do like. It's a haunted house. The Others, directed by Alejandro Amenabar. The Others from 2001, starring Nicole Kidman, Fionnuala Flanagan, and Christopher Eccleston. I love anything with Nicole Kidman, but a woman raising her light-sensitive children alone in a fog-shrouded mansion becomes convinced the house is haunting, leading to a devastating reveal about her own family. Listen, Nicole Kidman, again, like I said, I can't get enough of her, everything about her, including her look. She's gorgeous. She still looks good today, but she's also a phenomenal actor, and I think this is at her best. She's so great. She sells it so well. It also has infinite rewatchability. It's gothic horror, really at its finest. This is like perfect gothic horror to me. I love The Others. Again, I know it's considered a good movie. To me, this is like one of the best gothic horrors, one of the best ghost stories ever done. I also think it's a better twist than the M. Night Shyamalan movie that I can't give you it. I'm sorry. Okay, up next is again a folk horror classic, but it's The Wickerman from 1973, directed by Robert Hardy, starring Edward Woodward, Christopher Lee, and Britt Eklund. A devout Christian police sergeant investigates a missing girl on a remote Scottish island, uncovering a pagan community whose true intentions for him are far darker than he expects. Now, here's the thing: you're thinking, well, Dan, this is an underrated list. I mean, The Wicker Man is a classic; it's a folk horror classic, and that's true. But I just don't think when you think about like the all-time great movies in horror, you might go to Psychic, The Shining, Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist. And I just think The Wicker Man is like right outside of that group. And I don't really think it's traditionally classed that way. I think this is an all-time great. This is probably the greatest folk horror film of all time. And I don't think it gets enough love. That's why I put it on my list. Next is another classic. It's The Changeling from 1980, directed by Peter Murdoch, starring George C. Scott, Trish Van Devere, and Melvin Douglas. A grieving composer moves into a vast, empty mansion and begins uncovering the ghostly presence of a murdered child, along with a decades-old cover-up tied to a powerful family. Again, The Changeling is kind of a classic, but it's still a little bit under the radar. When we think about 80s classics, and it's not a slasher, but, you know, if you think about Haunted House, you're going to think about Poltergeist, you're going to think about Amityville Horror. You're not really going to think about The Changeling, and it's a little bit of a different vibe. But to me, it's way better than Poltergeist. I don't know if it's better than Amityville Horror, but it is an excellent haunted house film. George C. Scott's fantastic. He's fantastic in like every film. I love George C. Scott. This is definitely worth a watch. You know, you think everyone saw it, but I'll tell you what, one of my favorite channels, Lost River Drive, and he's a huge horror fan. He's seen way more than me. He just watched this film. So again, I do think this is a little bit underrated. Okay, next we go to a film from my childhood, sort of. It's May from 2002, directed by Lucky McKee, starring Angela Bettis, Jeremy Sisto, and Anna Faris. A lonely, socially awkward young woman obsessed with a childhood doll grows increasingly unstable as her attempts at connection fail, leading her to build the perfect friend from the parts of people she admires. And guys, before I go on, please make sure to like and subscribe. It's a new channel, so we want to get these videos out. If you like this kind of content and you want more people to see it, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing. So here's the thing about May. It's a descent into madness, and our lead, Angela Bettis, is just fantastic. I really love the relationship between her and Jeremy Sisto. Although Jeremy's like, he's a little bit, I don't know. There's something about him that's like a little bit off. But either way, that the play between those two is just fascinating. What I love about this is the descent into madness. And it's really interesting the way she becomes more confident and more socially acceptable in her actions, the more awful and evil she is, in her demeanor, the way she's perceived, despite her actions becoming actually wicked. She goes from somebody who's perfectly fine, not hurting anyone, to someone who is a mass murderer. And in the process, she becomes more acceptable, more tolerable, right? And it speaks to sort of this potential friction between how we're perceived, right, and how we're judged by society versus, you know, the things that we do, right? And we'd all ideally want to be perceived by the things that we actually do, and oftentimes that's not the case. It's how we present ourselves, how we speak, how we interact, right? It's just fun. It's a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, May 2002. I think it's streaming on Tubi right now. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. May from 2002. Next up is, I think I'm going to say, the number one Halloween movie of all time, not of the Halloween franchise, okay? But I think this is the quintessential Halloween movie. Okay, it's Trick or Treat from 2007, directed by Michael Dougherty, starring Anna Paquin, Brian Cox, and Dylan Baker. An anthology of interwoven Halloween night stories tied together by a mysterious trick or treater named Sam, who enforces the holiday traditions. Here's the thing: big time horror fans have seen this film. It is sort of a classic within the world, the horror community, which I don't really like. I mean, I'm not part of the horror community. I'm just a guy who likes horror. I'm a casual horror fan. All right. Here's the thing. But outside of that, when you talk to like just casuals, they probably aren't familiar with it. It doesn't really get the kind of love. It's not going to be like all these massive replays. People don't know of Sam Hain or Samhain, right? I'm not sure what his name is. They don't know of Sam. You're not going to see a kid dressed up as Sam for Halloween. Maybe you will here and there. But it is so good, man. The way, first of all, anthologies are tough. And it's really difficult that you're going to get every story right. They nail all four of them, I think. And the way they're able to interweave it is just beautiful and perfect. The way Sam's able to kind of dictate things and sort of be lovable, but also scary and kind of the villain. Everything about this is fantastic. It's a perfect Halloween movie, and I would love to see a sequel to this someday. Next up, and I know I said perfect gothic horror, but this is pretty close to it. It's Crimson Peak from 2015, directed by Guillermo del Toro, starring Mia Wasikowska, Tom Hiddleston, and Jessica Chastain. A young author marries a charming but mysterious aristocrat and moves into his decaying family mansion where she discovers dark secrets and ghostly warnings. This movie is just gorgeous. Obviously, you knew that. It's Guillermo del Toro. And look, people do like this. But I want to say its rating on IMDb is like 6 point something. I think it's higher than that. I think this is like a 7 out of 10, maybe even 7.5 out of 10. I love the relationship by Tom Hiddleston and Mia Wasikowska, and I love the sister as well. And the way she, there's sort of she's kind of figuring out this mystery involved, and there's ghosts, and there's just like this gorgeous mansion, but it's also decaying and kind of disgusting. It's perfect. I think Tom Hiddleston's performance in this is just absolutely fantastic. This is a great movie. It's not just a good movie. See it if you haven't. Okay. Next up is not my favorite on this list, but I love this movie, and you do not hear people talk about this. It is The Voices from 2014, directed by Margene Satrapi, starring Ryan Reynolds, Gemma Arterton, and Anna Kendrick. A factory worker with a cheerful demeanor and a serious mental illness begins receiving murderous instructions from his talking pets after dates goes horribly wrong. Now, look, if you've seen May and you liked it, just watch The Voices today because you're going to like it more. It's May. It's not the same story, but it's very similar to May. It's just a lot better. This movie is freaking awesome. It's funny. It's dark. It's scary. It's over the top ridiculous. There's enough levity to it, though, that you can kind of get through it, but it's also really serious and it kind of stays with you. I love it. Ryan Reynolds' performance is perfect. I think this is maybe Ryan Reynolds' best performance ever. I absolutely love this movie. Maybe that speaks to my own issues. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, it's fantastic. Watch The Voices if you haven't seen it yet. Anyway, guys, that's my list of the top 12 underrated horror films of all time. I'll see you in the next one.